Hello, you're welcome to another episode of Law, Lifestyle and Dating. I'm just kidding, you're welcome to Law, Lifestyle and the Basics. And as you have seen in the caption, today we're going to be talking about how to date your boss. I know it's funny, just hold on and we'll get to the bottom of this. For those who are just joining us, my name is Temitope Olasimono. I'm a lawyer and a civics educator. I like to tell people about their rights and possibly obligations in accordance with law, irrespective of whatever country you might be in. So straight to it, I'm sure this title got you by surprise, and it's not something like, it's not a bait or a bait title or something I'm actually quite concerned about. I was reading some seconds ago, and I just had this thought, this brainwave of dating at work, not because I'm considering it, but because somehow I think it's something to be discussed at a time like this. I remember watching a video or something, a discussion or maybe an interview, Louis Jacobs and Joke Silva, and I hope I'm quoting her correctly, quoting Joke Silva. She talked about how she met her husband, and the fact that she met her husband while at work, it was some kind of spirit, obviously, they're in the same line of profession, and is older than her, and he had more experience than her, and then he asked her out, and I think she said that even at times like this now, it could be termed under the topic of what I'm trying to talk about today. So is it wrong for colleagues today at work? Is it wrong for bosses to date their subordinates? Generally speaking, in workplaces, when a colleague, subordinate dates a superior, there's this suggestive of some kind of abuse, and that's not to say that it's callous, and that's not to say that something fishy and something spooky or something wrong is going on. It's just that generally in law recognizes there will be times where there will not be even positions, where people are not even. Doesn't mean that we're not equal, but position wise, people, not everybody's on the same platform. For example, the law seeks to protect the relationship between landlords and tenants. Anybody who is on the receiving end, the receiving party, the law foresees and tries to protect them from abuse. So a tenant, for example, is the one who is living in a house, in a rented property that is not basically his, and so the law prescribes and protects him from being evicted unlawfully, such that we have things like statutory notice, the notice to quit, you have a notice of intention to recover premises and all of that. So the law seeks to protect the weaker party. So I suppose that this is one of the reasons why we have these rules against dating at work, or people dating their superiors or dating their subordinates. So how do we go about this? I want this to be conversational as much as possible, that I'd be respecting your feedback as well. I suppose that if you like to date your superior or date your colleague, this is just a lifestyle tip now. I suppose that you shouldn't make it in the dark. You shouldn't put it in the dark. For example, I use the church setting. In church, when you want to date, in some churches, like in my church, for example, the RCCG, if you want to meet with somebody, you want to marry, you have the intention of getting married to someone, the appropriate thing will be to notify their pastor. Being that it's a traditional church, people do differently these days. They straight up walk to people. Some people do that, but I'm quite traditional. I like the idea of walking up to the pastor, because somehow the pastor gets to most likely will know both parties, know the person requesting and the person to be notified of the marital request, of the marital proposal. So it's like a wedge. I think that the same thing can be imported into a workplace. Now let me just get into it in case you're just wondering. I think that because the idea of this is because to guard against abuse, so that one person doesn't just wake up one day and tell the other person, okay, I was sexually assaulted by my boss, he made advances at me. It will be wrong. It will be absolutely wrong. So you have to have safeguards. That's what the law is. I'm all about protecting every kind of relationship. I'm all about when they call a furniture person or the fashion designer to come and do something, however little or low level places it may seem that these persons are. I believe in guiding and maintaining these relationships, and I know that the word of mouth can be disputed. It's your word against mine. So in similar vein, to avoid somebody springing up tomorrow, because we know celebrities, we've watched stories and we've heard stories of celebrities in the international scene when they are they are charged with abuse, females and all of that. Meanwhile, sometimes these girls are underage, or sometimes these women go to make claims. Sometimes they are true claims that these people abuse them. So I think that if you're superior and you wanted to legit go out with a subordinate and you don't have any malintentions against this person, then it will be best to involve somebody else, a third party, like a witness. So you have an eyewitness account. Okay, Mr. B, I'm looking to asking this girl out, so asking this person out because I really like them, and all of that. You get somebody involved so that you have a witness. So I think that's just it. That's probably how best you can date somebody at work without, at the end of the day, as a superior, it turns out on you. And make sure that whomever you are also telling is not somebody necessarily at the upper cadre, but someone within the range of the person you're also asking out, so that at the end of the day you're not accused of breaking the rules of the organization, of secrecy. Anything that is done in secret is usually they usually raise eyebrows at anything that is done in a secret place. So I don't know the secret place when we're praying with God and all of that, but you generally know that secrecy, there's always something fishy about secrecy. Now, if you're undergoing abuse, this is an extra tip. I always believe in documentation. For example, you've gone through assault, or someone is making unlawful advances at your place of work. I believe that you should have things like this documented. What do I mean by documentation? Don't just leave it at the fact that the person is asking you. Make sure you have evidences like chats, maybe WhatsApp chats, phone calls recorded, and any shady kind of communication at all. It doesn't have to be sexual assault. It could also be someone prompting you to steal office funds and all of that. But just make sure that you have evidence in whatever you're laying claims to. And there's something called presence of mind. Presence of mind is when something, a bad surprise comes at you. You keep yourself under such that you're rational. So, for example, somebody asks you out, tells you to meet them up at the hotel place and all of that. You just don't go ranting and shouting down at them and screaming at them, because it could turn around at you. So you take your time. Of course, you're not consenting, but you take your time. Of course, make sure you're firm in your responses, but make it in such a way that there's no outburst and it turns on you. I'm a Christian and I know the story of Potiphar's wife and Joseph. Meanwhile, Joseph did the right thing according to scripture, which is to flee all form of lust. He did flee all form of lust. He did, and it got him into trouble. It got him into prison. I'm just saying that while Joseph did the right thing in this time and day, I'm sure many of us do not want to go into prison because somebody wrongfully accused us of what they actually were trying to do to us. So in a time like this, I would advise that we get sufficient evidence. So you'll be talking about emails, you'll be talking about messages and all of that, and make sure some eyewitness also is involved. And if you're out there, you're engaging in abuse or persons who are meant to be subordinate to you, please kindly desist from it, because the consequences far outweigh the momentary pleasures. Alright, this was Temitope Olasunmonu, Low Lifestyle and the Basics. I encourage us, for many of us that are young and whether married or unmarried, generally everybody, we to make sure that we keep our bodies under. And there's a list of this video I was watching the other day of a person, of a number of what they call them, celebrities now in Europe whose career went down. We all know about Kelly. We all know about many people who went down the drain because people found out information about them. So please, let's not think that we can get away with things. Let's ensure that we build a track record that endures. Alright, this was Lower Lifestyle and the Basics. Temitope Olasunmono. Do take care. Bye.